Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see, but few can feel. Niccolò Machiavelli. Why do you stay broke while others get rich? This question has haunted ambitious men for centuries. The truth is not hidden in textbooks, not in motivational seminars, not in the empty slogans plastered across social media. It is written in the ruthless psychology of power and the strategies of the few who dare to seize it. You are broke not because you are incapable, but because you refuse to see the game for what it truly is. Most people cling to the fairy tale. Work hard, be honest, stay humble, and fortune will reward you. That story comforts the poor. It makes poverty feel noble, but Machiavelli would laugh at such illusions. He knew what the rich know. The world is not fair, and wealth is not distributed by justice. It is extracted through leverage, strategy, and the ability to act when others hesitate. Look around you. Have you ever noticed how the wealthy often appear shockingly ordinary? A CEO who stumbles through speeches, a politician who barely understands the details, a YouTuber spouting nonsense, yet cashing checks bigger than surgeons and engineers. The broke majority sneers, "He's not even smart." But the Machiavellian mind sees clearly. Wealth is not the reward for intelligence. It is the reward for strategy. This is your first mistake. You confuse intelligence with strategy. You think reading, analyzing, and knowing makes you superior. But knowing is not the same as moving. Machiavelli warned rulers, hesitation is death. And yet, hesitation is the religion of the broke. Ask yourself honestly, how many times have you killed an opportunity with endless research? How many times did you wait for the perfect time, only to watch someone else, less talented than you, seize the prize? The world doesn't pay thinkers, it pays movers. Consider Elon Musk. Was he the most brilliant engineer? Number. There were thousands of scientists smarter than him, but he acted where others hesitated. He threw rockets into the sky while experts mocked him. He built electric cars when the auto industry scoffed. The world called him reckless, until it called him the richest man alive. What changed? Nothing, except his willingness to move while others sat still. Second mistake, comfort over sovereignty. The broke majority spends money and time to feel better today. They binge entertainment, drown in distractions, and seek momentary pleasure. The rich, on the other hand, sacrifice comfort for power. They endure boredom, rejection, and humiliation in silence. And years later, they emerge unrecognizable, wealthy, powerful, untouchable. Do you know why Jeff Bezos started Amazon selling books? It wasn't because books were glamorous. It was because books were strategic. Endless variety, easy to ship, a training ground for logistics. While his peers chased comfort, he built a foundation. Today, Amazon is not a bookstore. It is an empire. Meanwhile, millions who mocked him remain broke, comforted by Netflix subscriptions they can barely afford. Third mistake, envy. You count other people's pockets instead of expanding your own. You see a partner making more than you in a deal, and instead of learning, you quit. You whisper, "He's exploiting me," and walk away. Years later, that exploiter owns an empire, and you are still trading hours for scraps. Machiavelli warned, envy blinds judgment. Kings expand territory. Peasants gossip about fairness. Consider the Medici family in Renaissance Florence. They rose not by fairness, but by dominance. They financed popes, influenced kings, and controlled politics through sheer wealth. Did they earn respect through equality? Number. They bought loyalty, manipulated rivals, and built dynasties. While others whined about fairness, the Medici reshaped history. And yet, 5 centuries later, most people still prefer complaining about inequality rather than building power to change it. And here is your deadliest mistake: mindset without movement. You believe money is about feeling rich before becoming rich. You buy books, repeat affirmations, and visualize checks in the mail. But your wallet stays empty. Machiavelli would scoff. Power is never granted, it is seized. Belief without action is impotence. Think of the man who dreams of fire but refuses to chop wood. He freezes. The one who chops, sweats, and endures discomfort, he warms his home. Which are you? Here's the bitter truth. No one cares about your affirmations, your dreams, your intentions. The world only rewards what it is forced to reward: results, dominance, undeniable value. And if you think this doesn't apply to you, let me ask, why are you still broke? Because you thought about it? Because you waited for it? Because you believed in it? Number. Because you refused to move ruthlessly. Let me give you a scenario. Imagine two men standing on a dock. Both see a storm at sea. One says, "It's too risky. I'll wait until the sky clears." The other says, "The storm may kill me, but waiting will kill me slower. I'll sail now." Guess who discovers new lands? Not the cautious thinker, the one who risked, endured, and moved. History remembers the sailor. Poverty remembers the one who stayed. This is not about intelligence. It is not about fairness. It is not about morality. It is about ruthlessness. Until you embrace it, you will remain broke, while those with half your talent and twice your courage will get rich. So let me ask you, are you willing to endure discomfort for sovereignty? Or will you trade sovereignty for comfort until you die forgotten? Do you think Machiavelli was right, or was he too ruthless? Leave your answer in the comments. The one who adapts his conduct to the times will succeed. Machiavelli wealth doesn't flow to the frantic, it flows to the patient strategist. And here lies a brutal truth. You stay broke because you cannot endure silence. The rich understand something most people refuse to accept. Money comes in explosions, not trickles. For years, there may be nothing, no applause, no rewards, no recognition. Then, suddenly, like lightning, fortune strikes. And the ones who prepared, who endured obscurity, who stayed the course, are the ones who rise. Look at Elon Musk. Before Tesla became the most valuable car company in the world, he was ridiculed. SpaceX rockets exploded. Tesla almost went bankrupt. Journalists called him insane. Experts called him reckless. If he had craved applause, he would have quit. But he endured, he waited, and when success finally struck, it struck like a meteor. From crazy billionaire burning cash to the richest man alive. Silence is not failure. Silence is incubation. But you mistake silence for defeat. You launch one product, post one video, try one idea, and when the world doesn't cheer instantly, you quit. You abandon the game before it even starts. But Machiavelli warned princes, time itself is a weapon. The one who can outlast rivals inherits the crown. Think about it. How many ventures have you strangled in infancy because you couldn't handle waiting? How many times have you traded the empire of tomorrow for the comfort of today? That is why you stay broke. Now let's move to the second law, leverage. The broke man thinks in hours. He asks, how much can I earn today for my time? The Machiavellian asks, how can I set systems in motion that pay me forever? Jeff Bezos didn't pack Amazon boxes. He built a machine that packs them endlessly. He used logistics, software, and manpower to multiply his presence. This is leverage. Leverage means multiplying your action so that each move produces 10, 100, or 1,000 outcomes. Why do you stay broke? Because you cling to the laborer's mindset. You think your nobility is in how hard you work, how many hours you grind. But Machiavelli would scoff. Nobility doesn't build empires. Leverage does. Consider Julius Caesar. Did he conquer Gaul by fighting every soldier himself? Number. He commanded armies. His power multiplied through others. A prince does not swing the sword. He commands the swords of thousands. The same rule applies today. If you are still trading your hours for dollars, you are not a prince. You are a servant. And leverage is not just systems, it is perception. Machiavelli wrote, "Men judge more by appearances than by reality." Wealthy individuals understand this. Apple doesn't just sell technology, it sells status. Why do millions pay extra for a glowing logo? Because perception has been weaponized into leverage. Meanwhile, you sit in silence, hoping someone notices your competence. You work quietly, praying your boss sees your effort. But recognition is not given, it is manufactured. If you cannot manufacture perception, you will remain invisible, and invisibility is poverty. Now we arrive at the third law, ruthless competence. Mediocrity is the disease of the broke. Average effort, average skill, average results. You think being good enough is safe. It is not. In a world where billions can do what you do, average is invisible. Excellence is gravity. It pulls wealth, clients, and power into orbit. Look at the best lawyer in your city, the best surgeon, the best athlete. They don't beg for work, they command it. People fight to pay them. Why? Because excellence is undeniable. But excellence comes at a price. It demands boredom, failure, rejection, humiliation. It demands you endure what average men avoid. That is why most people never achieve it. They would rather protect their pride than pay the cost of power. Machiavelli wrote, "It is not titles that honor men, but men that honor titles." You are not a king because you call yourself one. You are a king because your results make others kneel. Let me give you a thought experiment. Imagine two personal trainers. One blends in, gives average programs, charges low fees, and struggles for clients. The other obsesses over results, pushes clients harder, and transforms bodies so dramatically that no one can deny his skill. Which trainer do you think money chases? Which trainer gets leveraged into brand deals, online programs, global influence? Not the average one. Excellence is currency. So, let me challenge you. Are you willing to suffer boredom, endure humiliation, and bleed for excellence? Or will you settle for mediocrity, comfort, and invisibility? Because here is the final secret of part 2. Patience, leverage, and competence are inseparable. Patience keeps you alive long enough to build. Leverage multiplies what you build. Competence makes it undeniable. Remove anyone and the machine collapses. Most people will never combine the three. They will demand quick results, cling to labor, and settle for average. And so they will remain broke, while the Machiavellian few build empires in silence. So let me ask you, are you willing to endure obscurity? Are you willing to build leverage instead of trading hours? Are you willing to be ruthless in your pursuit of competence? Or will you keep playing small until the game erases you? This is ruthless psychology. This is Machiavelli applied to money. The choice is yours. The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present. Niccolo Machiavelli. If patience and leverage separate the broke from the rich, then alliances and betrayal determine who keeps power once it is gained. Here is the next brutal truth. Wealth is not built in isolation. It is built through alliances, and it is protected often by betrayal. The poor cling to loyalty as if it were sacred. They say things like, "I'll never betray my friend," or "I'd rather lose than be disloyal." Admirable? Perhaps. Profitable? Rarely. Machiavelli taught that loyalty is useful, but it is never permanent. Alliances exist only as long as interests align. When those interests change, betrayal is not just likely, it is inevitable. Look at history. Cesare Borgia, the very prince who inspired Machiavelli's The Prince, forged alliances across Italy. He made promises, built coalitions, and used allies as stepping stones. And when their usefulness ended, he discarded them without hesitation. Some called him treacherous. Machiavelli called him effective, because in the ruthless game of power, sentiment is weakness. The same pattern repeats today. Mark Zuckerberg did not rise by keeping every partnership intact. Facebook began as a collaboration, but when early partners threatened control, they were removed, diluted, or bought out. Ruthless? Yes. Necessary? Absolutely. Had he clung to loyalty over dominance, Facebook might have collapsed before it ever grew. Instead, betrayal secured survival. And here is where you fail. You confuse friendship with strategy. You choose partners because you like them, not because they are useful. You hold on to relationships long after they have decayed, draining your resources out of guilt. You cling to loyalty even when loyalty kills your future. So let me challenge you. What would you do if survival demanded betrayal? Would you walk away? Would you cut ties? Or would you cling to comfort until both you and your allies sank together? Most of you will answer, I'd never betray anyone. That is why you will stay broke. The rich understand that betrayal is not evil. It is strategy. But betrayal is not only about ending alliances. It is about manipulating appearances. Machiavelli wrote that rulers must appear merciful, faithful, humane, and religious, but be ready to act in the opposite way when necessary. Appear loyal, appear dependable, appear harmless. Meanwhile, behind the mask, move your pieces in silence. Think of Steve Jobs, charismatic, visionary, admired by millions. Yet within Apple, he could be brutal, firing teams, discarding projects, and abandoning allies the moment they no longer served the company's vision. To the outside world, he was an icon of creativity. To those inside, he was a Machiavellian strategist who used loyalty as long as it produced results, then discarded it when it didn't. That's why Apple didn't just survive, it dominated. And let us not pretend politics plays by different rules. Every election cycle proves Machiavelli right. Allies today become enemies tomorrow. Campaign partners stab each other in the back when power shifts. Nations themselves betray treaties when survival demands it. If entire countries cannot remain loyal, why would you expect individuals to? Now let's talk about manipulation. Machiavelli observed, men are more easily deceived by what they desire than by reality. This is the foundation of modern business. Why do millions chase lottery tickets? Because they desire wealth without effort. Why do scams thrive? Because people desire shortcuts. Why do influencers sell out courses, merch, and brands? Because their followers desire to live like them. If you do not understand manipulation, you will forever be its victim. Every advertisement manipulates. Every contract has an angle. Every negotiation hides an advantage. You are already in the game. The only question is whether you are the manipulator or the manipulated. Consider Apple again. They do not sell you a phone. They sell you status, belonging, prestige. That's why people camp outside Apple stores, desperate for the newest device, while ignoring better and cheaper alternatives. That is Machiavellian psychology at work, manipulation of desire, or consider luxury fashion houses. Do you think that piece of leather and metal is worth $10,000? Number. But status is. People buy the illusion, and the illusion is profitable. The companies understand human vanity better than you understand your own bank account. This is why you stay broke, because you are being manipulated every day, and instead of learning the craft, you resist it, even despise it. You call it fake. You cling to authenticity. But in Machiavelli's world, authenticity without strategy is suicide. Appearances rule, and the man who refuses to adapt is devoured by those who do. Let me give you a thought experiment. Imagine two entrepreneurs. One says, I'll just be myself. If people don't like me, that's their problem. The other says, I will appear trustworthy, respectable, even humble until the time comes to reveal my power. Which one will win investors? Which one will earn customers? Which one will control perception? You know the answer. So let me ask you, are you willing to wear the mask when needed? Are you willing to betray appearances, to play the fox, to manipulate human weakness, not for cruelty, but for survival? Because if you refuse, you will remain broke. The world is not kind. It is Machiavellian. Alliances shift, loyalty breaks, perception deceives, and money flows to those who accept this reality instead of clinging to fantasies. This is ruthless psychology. This is Machiavelli's strategy applied to money, and unless you embrace it, you will always be a pawn in someone else's empire. It is much safer to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Niccolo Machiavelli. Here lies one of the harshest laws Machiavelli ever wrote. Love is fragile. It can vanish overnight with one disappointment. Fear, on the other hand, endures. In wealth and power, fear is leverage. And until you understand this, you will remain broke. Why? Because you want to be liked. You lower your prices to be liked. You compromise your standards to be liked. You hesitate to dominate because you don't want to upset anyone. But the rich? They don't chase approval. They chase control. They understand that money isn't just about accumulation, it is about domination. Look around you. Apple doesn't want to be liked. It wants to be indispensable. Why else would they lock you into an ecosystem where leaving feels impossible? Amazon doesn't want to be liked. It wants to own entire industries, swallowing competitors without mercy. Netflix doesn't just want to entertain you, it wants to control your evenings. These companies are Machiavellian princes of commerce. They know that love fades, but domination lasts. And you play nice. You hope there's space for everyone. You tell yourself, if I just do my best, there's room in the market for me too. But there isn't. Markets are battlefields, and Machiavelli warned, half measures are deadly. If you do not destroy your rivals, they will destroy you. Let's look at history. Alexander the Great didn't win by being everyone's friend. He conquered relentlessly, and when cities resisted, he made examples of them. Genghis Khan didn't unify the largest empire in history through kindness. He inspired such fear that entire armies surrendered without a fight. Rome didn't rule through love. It ruled through dominance and legions. Domination doesn't always mean cruelty. It means building fortresses so strong that rivals cannot touch you. Rockefeller built Standard Oil into a monopoly so massive that competitors suffocated. He didn't share the market, he consumed it. Facebook neutralized Instagram by buying it, eliminating a rival before it grew too dangerous. Bezos built Amazon's logistics so overwhelming that even giants like Walmart struggled to keep up. Meanwhile, the poor lie exposed. One paycheck away from collapse, one layoff away from ruin. No fortress, no moat, no leverage. And when disaster strikes, they call it bad luck. But Machiavelli would say, it is not bad luck, it is bad strategy. So how do you build a fortress in money? You create multiple income streams, so one betrayal cannot kill you. You build such a strong reputation that competitors hesitate to attack. You design systems so resilient that even failure strengthens you. This is the modern fortress, not walls of stone, but walls of strategy. Ask yourself, do you have a fortress, or are you standing in the open field praying rivals spare you? Domination also means eliminating alternatives. Customers buy from Amazon not always because they love it, but because it's easier than going elsewhere. Employees stay in toxic jobs not because they adore the company, but because they fear they won't find better. Nations bow to superpowers not out of affection, but because they have no alternative. How replaceable are you? If you vanished tomorrow, would anyone care? Would your clients panic? Would your rivals celebrate? Would your absence be felt? If the answer is no, you do not yet have power. You are still begging for love instead of commanding respect. Now, let's talk about fear. Machiavelli didn't mean you should be cruel for cruelty's sake. He warned that hatred breeds rebellion. A prince who is feared but not hated is secure. The same applies in business. Dominate but still deliver value. Rule with an iron fist but cloak it in velvet. This is why people tolerate Amazon's monopoly, Apple's closed system, Netflix's domination. Because even though these companies are ruthless, they still deliver undeniable value. But here's the part you hate. Domination requires striking first. You must attack before rivals attack you. You must cut off competitors before they grow strong. You must seize resources before they are taken. Machiavelli advised princes to destroy enemies completely. In money, this means underpricing, innovating, scaling, acquiring, whatever it takes to remove rivals. Yet you hesitate. You tell yourself, there's enough for everyone. But there isn't. Wealth, like power, pulls around the few who dominate. And if you are unwilling to play that game, you will be consumed by those who do. Imagine this scenario. You start a small business. It's growing. But suddenly, a larger competitor notices you. They undercut your prices, flood the market, and lure your clients. What do? Do you fight ruthlessly? Do you innovate, dominate, or buy them out? Or do you cling to fairness, hoping they'll play nice? If you choose the last, you've already lost. Domination is not optional. It is survival. The broke majority thinks money is about earning. The rich know money is about ruling. So let me challenge you. Are you feared or ignored, respected or replaceable? Do you have a fortress, or are you standing exposed, praying the wolves pass you by? This is ruthless psychology. This is Machiavelli applied to money. And unless you build fortresses, eliminate rivals, and weaponize fear, you will remain a subject in someone else's empire. All courses of action are risky, so prudence consists in choosing the least dangerous ones, but more dangerous still is to do nothing. Niccolò Machiavelli. This is the final law. The greatest reason you stay broke is not lack of intelligence, not lack of talent, not even lack of opportunity. It is inaction disguised as caution. You wait, you analyze, you hope. And while you wait, others strike, seize, and dominate. Every day of hesitation, the gap between you and the ruthless widens until it becomes unbridgeable. But there is another path, the Machiavellian transformation. The path of those who dare to see the world not as they wish it to be, but as it is. Let us gather the weapons you've learned. First, patience. The broke demand instant validation. The Machiavellian delays comfort, endures obscurity, and waits for fortune to break. Caesar did not become Caesar overnight. Years of maneuvering, exile, and struggle prepared him for the sudden grab at Rome's throat. Likewise, Bezos endured decades of mockery before Amazon became untouchable. Fortune comes suddenly, but only to those who endure long enough. Second, leverage. The poor trade hours, the rich multiply. Genghis Khan did not swing every sword. He commanded armies. Rockefeller did not refine every barrel of oil. He built a monopoly so vast that others worked for him. Musk doesn't build every Tesla by hand. He builds systems that replicate endlessly. If you are still trading your labor, you are not a prince. You are a pawn. Third, betrayal. Loyalty is beautiful, but it is fragile. And loyalty to weakness is treason against your future. Cesare Borgia allied when it was useful, then discarded when it was not. Zuckerberg cut out partners when control demanded it. Steve Jobs betrayed comfort and colleagues alike to secure Apple's empire. If you cannot cut ties, you will remain chained. Fourth, domination. Wealth is not secure until it rules. The Medici bankrolled popes, ensuring that no rival family could erase them. Rockefeller destroyed competitors so completely that the U.S. government had to intervene. Facebook devoured Instagram before it became a threat. Love is fragile. Fear endures. Do you inspire fear or do rivals ignore you? Fifth, excellence. Mediocrity is invisible. Excellence is gravity. Napoleon was not merely a soldier, he was a master strategist. That excellence pulled an empire into orbit. The same law applies today. The best surgeon, the best athlete, the best lawyer, they don't beg for work, they command it. Are you undeniable, or are you just another name on the list? These 5 weapons form the Machiavellian arsenal, but they are worthless if you do not use them. Think of the man who spends years saying he will start a business, yet never launches. Think of the woman who dreams of independence but never risks leaving her job. Think of the countless souls clinging to affirmations and motivation while refusing to act. They will die broke, not because they lacked potential, but because they chose inaction. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine you endure silence while others quit. Imagine you build leverage while others cling to wages. Imagine you cut ties with weakness while others drown in loyalty. Imagine you dominate while others play fair. Imagine you pursue ruthless competence while others settle for mediocrity. Who do you become? Not a pawn, not a spectator, a prince. This is the Machiavellian transformation. To stop begging and start ruling. To stop dreaming and start seizing, to stop apologizing and start commanding. And here is the ultimate test. Machiavelli wrote, "The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves." This is the final key. You must be both fox and lion. The fox to detect manipulation, the lion to instill fear. The fox to avoid traps, the lion to crush rivals. Without both, you will remain prey. With both, you become untouchable. So let me ask you, are you ready to be fox and lion? Are you ready to betray illusions, to dominate rivals, to build fortresses, to suffer obscurity, to embrace ruthlessness? Or will you stay broke, comforted by lies, while others claim the throne? The world will insult you. They will call you arrogant, ruthless, dangerous, but history will call you rich. History will call you powerful. History will call you Machiavellian. The choice is here. Stay broke or become ruthless. Hesitate or strike. Obey or rule. This channel is for those who dare to see the world as it is, not as the weak wish it to be. If you are one of them, subscribe to Ruthless Psychology, because here we don't just talk about power, we take it.